Okay, you guys regularly ask me how I am able to juggle everything, particularly now that we are self-isolating and Sam and Scout are home with me all day long. So I thought I would share what a typical, realistic weekday looks like for us right now, as well as a lot of the kind of tips and tricks that I use to balance work, homeschooling, house cleaning, as well as, just how I generally manage to stay reasonably alert and focused while still having plenty of me time and plenty of quality family time. Let's go. Hi guys, it's Laura, and first things first, my alarm goes off at 7:55 a.m. and the reason it goes off at 7:55 is because my husband's goes off at 8, and his is this blaring air horn of an alarm, and I don't like to be terrorized awake. So I set my soothing bird song sounds for 5 minutes beforehand so that I can wake a little more gently. Now, I promised you a realistic day in the life, so I scroll through my phone for about half an hour. I check emails, I check my Facebook and Twitter notifications, but I do not scroll through those timelines. That is a major time suck that I cut out of my life a few months ago. And then I scroll through Instagram and Insta stories because I still enjoy those. Then I get up. Now, getting up in the morning is a really quick affair for me because I already have my outfit chosen. Usually it is hanging in the closet, but these are coronavirus times, so I just leave it folded on the floor beside my bed. It's easier to hop into, and I don't care if it's not perfectly pressed. The reality is that I've mostly been wearing the same clothes. Scout is usually up around this time too, so I will make her some breakfast. I don't eat until later in the morning, so I use this time to get started on homeschool prep. Now, let me tell you, I am not cut out for teaching, but I do have a homeschooling hack that has been working wonders for us. So at Easter, and I promise you this is related, but at Easter we did an egg hunt. I wrote a list of places that Scout had to search for eggs, and she checked them off one by one as she found them. And she loved it so much. She actually declared that it was the best day of her life. But that gave me a light bulb moment. So since then, I have been doing schoolwork checklists. Each day, I write a list of things she has to do as part of her homeschooling based on what her teacher has sent. I try to have a really good mix of things in there, not just in terms of subjects and activities, but also including some screen time so that she doesn't feel deprived, but she's also not glued to it all day. And then once she's done with her breakfast and she's cleaned up, she gets started. So I set up a little kind of like schoolwork station beside Sam's desk. She just likes to work beside him. I set out all of the supplies she needs for the day, plus her checklist, and then she gets to decide in what order she wants to do them. And then each time she completes one, she gets to check it off. And then all we have to do is check in with her every now and again to see how she's doing. It is a lot less work for us, and she enjoys kind of like the fun, slightly competitive element of completing everything. We always have a fun craft or activity or something chosen as the grand prize for when she does, and we choose that in advance so that it's something that she can look forward to. Just kind of builds a bit of anticipation. Plus then she feels like she is earning something, and making progress towards something and not just working for no reward. Once she is set up, I am ready to work. It's usually around 9:30 at this stage, and because I already have a to-do list written, I can dive straight into the first task on it. I like to work in 90-minute chunks. I got the idea from Cal Newport's book, Deep Work, and it has been a game changer for me. It helps me really kind of get in the zone and crank out some decent, focused work. I will say, though, that it has been much harder to concentrate now that Sam and Scout are both home. There's more noise in the house, more distractions. Scout wants to show me her work. So it has been a bit of a struggle in that sense, but My noise cancelling headphones are pretty much glued to my ears most of the time, and I have adjusted my to-do lists these days so that they're pretty light. Once the 90 minutes are up, I will generally check on Scout, let her show me some of her work. There's plenty of praise and high fives and, keep up the good work and all that sort of stuff. I just try to show her that I'm still here, like I'm still available to her. I'm still giving her attention and encouragement so that she doesn't feel lonely and she feels good about checking off her list. Then I have breakfast, and honestly, it could be anything. It's usually cereal, but these days it could just as easily be sour gummy bears. The one area of my life that has suffered the most because of this pandemic is my diet. I am trying to get better about it. I'm trying to get better about not eating in front of a screen, at least. So I do try and sit at the dining table and just kind of slow down a bit and take my time. I also generally use this time to text friends and family and maybe check social media again. I'll quickly tidy away my things and then I will do some kind of chore around the house, maybe watch a YouTube video or two, but I try to spend about an hour away from work getting other stuff done. And then I'll go back to it at about like 12:30 and settle in for another 90-minute block. Now, depending on the day, I may do a live stream on Instagram. I'm trying to do those on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays just to kind of keep a sense of human connection while everyone is self-isolating. Then it is back to desk work. So I get asked all the time what I use for my to-do list, and it is To-Do, TEUXDEUX. It is a paid product. It is $24 a year. Well, at the time of this recording anyway. And honestly, I would be happy to pay double that. I love it. I've been using it for years, not sponsored. I just honestly do not know what I would do without it. I do have other things that I use kind of in conjunction with it, but generally only once or twice a week. So I won't dive into those in this video. Now, in the middle of my block of work, Sam and Scout will usually have lunch. Sam is really into baking bread these days. As soon as this pandemic hit, he bought a bread maker. So that is something that he and Scout have been enjoying together. And once they are done, I'm generally finishing up my second block of work. So I will go have some lunch then. Again, it could be absolutely anything. Could be a sandwich. Could be some more sour gummy bears. After that, I will try and fit in another chore. Doing chores at various stages throughout the day serves kind of two purposes for me. The first is that it means my day is more balanced. I'm getting bits of everything done. No area is falling behind. And at the same time, I'm not spending hours and hours having to catch up on things. It's just kind of done throughout the week in small little bits and pieces. And then the second reason is that it helps me to break up my day and it gets me away from a screen. Because if I stay in the same spot for too long, I just get really lethargic. So I try to keep myself moving and active. And for me, the more I do, as long as it's varied, the more energy I have and the better I feel. I feel like I have accomplished things and lots of things. Whereas if I was sitting down all day, even if I did get loads done, I still wouldn't feel like I had achieved as much. So yeah, I try tackle a variety of things. There is kind of a third reason too, and that is that I have a minor form of scoliosis, which is essentially a spine deformity. So my spine is like arched and twisted. It's basically a corkscrew at the bottom, but it just means that if I stay in the same position for too long, it can be painful. So I try to move around on a regular basis just so that I'm not in pain. Then I go back to work for another 90-minute slot. But I will say, now that we're all home, this is usually the most distracted block of the day. I'm starting to slow down at this point. Scout has usually completed her schoolwork, so she'll want me to sit with her while she's doing her crafting prize. Dinner feels so far away that I tend to snack a lot. It's also a time when I might get a call from family in Ireland because, it's evening time for them. So I just try to use the time to get some tasks done that don't require a huge amount of concentration, just kind of some loose ends, maybe some emails, things like that. Nothing I can't kind of easily ditch if my phone rings or Scout wants me to read to her or something like that. After that, then we try to get outside for an hour, maybe go to the park, walk around the neighborhood, ride bikes and scooters, whatever it may be, just so that we basically don't forget how to use our legs, or what fresh air feels like. It just helps to wake us up a bit, and we also work up an appetite for dinner so that we generally start cooking then as soon as we get back. Dinner in our house is around 6 p.m. We try to always eat it together as a family. Scout is in charge of setting the table, which really just involves putting down some placemats and cutlery. Right now our table is taken over with jigsaw puzzles and crafts. It's not normally like that, but coronavirus. If it is a Friday evening, we have what I like to call a balance briefing. It's where we decide on what kind of chores need attention over the weekend and who is going to do them. We'll generally just kind of pick 2 to 3 each, and then we also choose 2 to 3 fun things to do together as a family, and it just ensures that weekends have a bit more meaning. We bring a bit of intention to them. After dinner, we tidy up, and then generally we'll all watch a film together. So we went through a Land Before Time phase. Did you know that there are 13 of those films? Yeah, they kept us going for a while. After that, then it is bedtime for Scout. Sam is usually in charge of bedtime, so she'll brush her teeth and then he'll read her a chapter of her book, and then she will generally kind of continue reading herself for a bit. I will usually try get a bit more work done. Again, it's kind of distracted stuff, just trying to finish off anything I didn't get done, filling out spreadsheets, and then looking ahead to the following day and maybe tweaking or changing anything that needs it. Then I will generally watch something, maybe some YouTube videos, the soap opera I watch, which is Coronation Street. Sam and I might watch a show or a film together. If there is some laundry to be folded or ironed, I might do that while I'm watching something, because I find that if I pair it with something that I actually enjoy doing, laundry feels like less of a chore. Then at about 11-ish, I will go to bed. That's kind of a little bit later than usual, just because we're not up as early now that Sam doesn't have to commute to work and Scout doesn't have to be in school. Again, I generally scroll on my phone for a bit and then I read until I fall asleep. I find I really need that reading buffer time because it gives me something to focus on. Otherwise, my brain would just be racing with a million different thoughts and ideas, and I would find it really hard to fall asleep. But with reading, I notice a big difference with how quickly I fall asleep and how well I sleep. There you have it. My weekends generally look a lot different to that, but that is what a typical weekday looks like for us. If you are interested in finding out, how I plan, what my planning system is like, then you can go ahead and click this video right here. And until then, go raibh míle maith agaibh, agus feicim mé sibh sé glua. Slán!